Welcome back to another spooky episode of Guapish Rule 34. As always, I am your Creep Master, and today I will be introducing my harbingers of the night who will no doubt give you a fright with their spooky stories they have prepared today. First up is my harbinger Tanner.
Blah, I want to suck your podcasts.
Crazy. Then we also have Jackson.
Blah, I want to suck your podcast.
And of course, for our final harbinger, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm not gonna copy those guys, but I guess I'm the last harbinger, so here we are.
And we also have a guest harbinger here. He's kind of just interning right now. We're trying to see if he fits the setting, you know, Tanichi.
I want to suck your podcast.
Already off to a fantastic start. I think we'll be keeping you around. And so...
Unpaid, of course.
Yeah, of course.
We're all unpaid.
Well...
So for today, we have a fantastic little spooky surprise for each and every one of you viewers. We will be doing some scary stories that we're going to be telling in the dark today. Particularly of the creepypasta variety. Now, each of the members of Guapish have come together and we have created our very own creepypastas that we will be just kind of reading out to you guys. So cuddle up next to the fire, get some marshmallows, roast on that bad boy, eat some of your cotton candy or whatever the fuck you people do during Halloween times, and get ready. Tanner, would you like to start with your creepypasta?
Sure, I can start with my creepypasta.
Fantastic. Should we have other people read our creepypastas?
Nico, I'll let you read mine.
Alright, fantastic. Sounds good, dude. Sounds good. Give me a cute little link to it so I can bust her out. Story number 1, A Way Out. Any plans for Halloween? Jane asked me as we were sitting down to eat lunch. Well, seeing as I'm 24, no, I don't have any plans, I said in a slight chuckle. Aw, come on, don't be lame. We should go out to a party or something, she shot back. It was 1 p.m. on a Thursday, right before Halloween. Jane and I always grabbed lunch in a mall food court on our breaks. Man, I don't have time to get a costume, so if we go to a party, I'll just spend the whole night being ragged on, ragged on for not wearing anything. Plus, we don't know anyone throwing a party. Who needs a costume with a face like yours, buddy? Someone said right behind me. I turn around to see my coworker and roommate, Ryan. That piece of shit, flashing a beaming grin at his lame attempt at a joke. Haha, very funny, I said. Hey Ryan, I thought you didn't work Thursdays, Jane chimed. Normally I don't, but I picked up a shift so I could have it tomorrow off, because I'm going to a new amusement park that opened up, he replied. My ears perked up upon hearing that. Open season amusement park? I thought they weren't opening up for a couple more months. They aren't. But they are going to do a special Halloween pre-opening where they'll have haunted houses and corn mazes and people chasing you around. You can even still ride the rides. Jane then looked at me with an excited gleam in her eyes. OMG, Tom! We should totally go check it out. Yeah, I guess that does sound pretty fun, I admitted. Right on, man. Let's all go together. We can meet up at the front entrance at 8, Ryan exclaimed. Sounds like a plan, Jane cheered. All right, I'm in, I declared. Wow. Look at how many people are here, Jane exclaimed as I pulled into the amusement park lot. I was amazed at how big the parking lot was. It seemed to stretch on for miles, and even crazier, it was completely packed. Good lord, how many people are here, I asked. Seems like a pretty successful pre-opening, huh? Jane laughed. Seems like, I echoed as I continued to look for a spot. Several minutes passed of still trying to find a parking space, when Jane said, Oh, I hope Ryan isn't waiting up for us right now. Why don't you give him a call real quick? I'm still not seeing any spots. Oh, good idea, she chimed before pulling out her phone and dialing Ryan. After a few rings, he picked up, and Jane put him on speaker. Hey, Jane, what's up? He answered. Hey, Ryan, Tom and I are here. We're just looking for a parking right now. Are you at the entrance already? Nah, funnily enough, I'm looking for a parking right now, too. Been at it a while. Seems like the whole town showed up or something. Yeah, that's just what we were saying. What are you guys looking forward to most once we get inside, Ryan asked. Oh, I heard they have this roller coaster that dumps slime on you. Sounds hilarious, I offered. Ew, slime! And then you just walk around the park all sticky? I don't know, I guess. Well, I want to get chased around a hall of mirrors or something. That'd be so cool and scary, Jane said. Honestly, I hope they still have candy in there. Oh wait, I see a space. You guys are probably gonna still be looking for a bit, so I'll meet you by the end. At that moment, Ryan cut off and the call ended. Huh, that's weird. The call just cut off, Jane said. Probably just the signal. We are a bit in the boonies out here, I replied. Yeah, true, she said before putting her phone away. We drove around for about 5 more minutes, making idle conversation before falling silent and driving on for a while longer. It was so strange. There were aisles in the lot, and we could see at the park, but it never seemed to get any closer. While she was staring out at the window, Jane suddenly said, "Hey, you know what I just noticed?" No, what? I haven't seen anyone out here. What do you mean? I mean, I haven't seen any people. Like, yeah, there's cars here, but where are the drivers walking to the entrance? I haven't seen anyone since we pulled into the lot. Well, we have been driving a while and talking the whole time. We probably just haven't noticed them. Yeah, maybe, Jane sighed. We drove on, but now with the unnerving realization that we couldn't see any people, after several minutes, I broke the silence. Want to try ringing Ryan real quick? Yeah, sure, she said before taking out her phone. The phone began dialing. It rang for about 60 seconds before it said, "The device you are calling cannot be found. Please make sure you have the correct number and try again." Click. That's odd. Could be the signal out here, I said. Yeah, maybe. IDK. Honestly, Tom, I'm getting tired of looking. Could we start making our way towards the exit? If we spot a space on the way, we'll just take the... But otherwise, I kind of want to just go home. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Hey, how about if we don't find a space, we go back to my place and watch a scary movie? I had been meaning to try asking Jane out. Oh yeah, that'd be perfect, she exclaimed. Slightly smiling to myself, I started keeping an eye on a spot to turn around. Finally, after what felt like several more minutes, we found a break in the line of cars that allowed us to turn around. Once we were facing the other way, I quickly pressed on the brake. Hey, what's wrong? Jane asked. I can't see the exit from here, I replied, and indeed I couldn't. The rows of cars seemed to just stretch on forever. Well, it is dark, silly. We'll see it once we get closer. Yeah, I guess I was just overreacting. I started driving again. Several minutes passed, and it still didn't seem like we were getting anywhere. I started driving faster, hoping I could get somewhere. Anywhere. Okay, this is getting ridiculous, Jane retorted. Let me out. I want to see if I can see anything. Oh, sure, I said as I brought the car to a stop. I'll be real quick, Jane said as she popped out of the car. And right then, right before my eyes, she disappeared. Not like she moved around the car. No, I was watching the whole time. 1 second she was there, getting out of the car, and the next she was gone. I didn't blink. My blood instantly ran cold. I quickly undid my seatbelt and opened the car door. I held onto the door as I looked around. Jane! Jane! I yelled frantically, looking everywhere. I leaned onto the roof, cupped my mouth, and screamed at the top of my lungs, Jane! Jane! Where are you? I slid back into the car and started honking my horn along with my hollering. When this didn't provide any result, I pulled out my phone and quickly called 911. The only thing I heard, in addition to my heart beating out of my chest, was my phone giving the click it does when you're out of signal. You've got to be kidding me, I said to myself. My head started swimming. Jane was missing. I couldn't find my way out, and I couldn't call for help. I started to have a panic attack when, out of nowhere, I heard the sound of a car horn in the distance. I looked over to my left to see a pair of yellow headlights moving down the aisle. I slammed on my gas. I needed to reach this person to see if they could help me out. I sped down the lanes of cars while keeping my eyes glued on the car. Reaching another break in the row, I was able to make my way over to the aisle where the car was going down. As I caught up to it, I started honking my horn to get their attention, but for some reason, they just kept driving. So when I flashed my lights as well as, and that finally seemed to catch their attention, the car came to a dead stop, and stopped as well. We sat there for what felt like forever before I saw the car door open. Immediately, the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. Something was wrong. Then, from the inside of the car, I saw a long black rod extend out of the driver's side. It extended for several feet out of the car before suddenly bending at a right angle and pushing against the ground. Out emerged, well, I'm not quite sure what emerged. A figure of some kind. It was completely black, long arms and long legs, and no hands or feet. A cylindrical body with a cube on top. It made a sound of metal screeching against metal before reaching out and walking towards me. I immediately jolted out of my frozen terror and slammed on my shift into reverse before bolting my way backwards. As I peeled away, that thing continued to screech at me. I sped away for what felt like several minutes to the point I couldn't see anything anymore, but I could still hear it. I had to get away from that thing somehow. Then, right on my left, I saw an empty space flash by. I slammed onto my brakes because I had an idea. Quickly, I pulled forward and into the empty spot before turning off my car and leaving my seat back as far as I could. There I laid, as quiet as possible, as that screaming monster approached me. After a couple minutes, it reached me, marching its way down the aisle, and it passed right by me and continued on its way. I waited a bit longer for it to get further away, and then went for my key. To my surprise, nothing happened. Not like the car didn't start up. It didn't do anything. I turned the key several more times and nothing. No turnover, no sparking, just completely dead. At this point, I was ready to start panicking again. I went to reach for the door handle to get out of the car when I remembered how Jane disappeared. I never let go of the car. When I got out last time, did Jane? Is that why she disappeared? I decided not to take the risk. I'll just wait here in the car until the sun comes up. Maybe then I'll find a way out. The end. By the way, I love you.
Hold on, so you don't need to read that part.
What's it say, man? Copy paste it for us.
I have my girlfriend read it, and I left her an I love you message at the end. Okay, chill out.
The end.
The end.
Hey, good job.
Let's fucking go, Tanner!
Jesus. Are you sufficiently scared yet, huh? Is your skin crawling?
I have one question, Tanner.
What's your question?
Does your monster happen to be in any relation to an Enderman from Minecraft?
No, but now that I'm thinking about it, the way I described it does very much look like an Enderman from Minecraft. Whoops!
I was just curious. I'm not trying to, pin anything.
And no, it wasn't supposed to be, but yeah, it does look exactly like one now that I think about it.
Welp, that's one story down. Now then, time for the rest of them. I'll be kicking it off next. I've got a fun little story that I want Jackson to be reading here for me.
Oh, I'd love to read it. Alrighty. It all started on July 17th, 2022. The year I finally felt like a grown-up adult man. I don't know why I said that so weird. One day that seems like such a distant memory now. I was pursuing the street, and I drove in my 1991 MX-5 Miata. That was a particularly good year for the automotive vehicle in question. Only 4,000 of the peculiar model were made, and I counted my lucky stars that my grandfather, on my father's side, had beseeched it upon me as his favorite grandchild. The machine of which I currently speak had commensally come in green. However, I am incapable of seeing that color, so I made it red instead. I feel like I did a pretty good job, too, and crashed violently into a telephone pole. Oh, wow! After getting my bearings, I spotted a garage sale nearby. Being a man who enjoys the finer things in life, yet is still willing to subsist in the same space as common folk, I decided it would be in my best interest to browse this garage. As the gandering proceeded, something instinctually caught my eyes. A Japanese copy of the video game The Battle Cats Unite for the Nintendo Switch Entertainment Console. My mouth was agape as I wrapped my fragile hands around the box. It wasn't in mint condition, but this fact mattered very little since I would no doubt spend an evening of fun on these titular cats. But a problem arose in my mind just as soon as the ecstasy had filled it. I would need a Japanese Switch, for after all, those crafty yet industrious men who occupied Ponos Corporation had undoubtedly region-locked their magnum opus. As my breathing became labored due to a panic attack setting in, my vibrant ears perked up as I noticed that the man who I'd only assumed to be the homeowner was caught red-handed playing on his Nintendo Switch Entertainment System. Judging it how he was an elderly man from the Orient, there wasn't but a single doubt in my mind that the Nintendo Switch Entertainment System hailed from the land of the rising sun. As quick as a bullet train, I charged the old top and ensnared my fingers around the handheld console. His feeble elderly brain was unable to even perceive me as I made a mad dash from my abode across the street. With not only game but also matching console in my hand, I slammed my door shut. My heart was hot and heavy from the physical expression, but a sly smile crept up my face for a job well done. I had surely pulled the wool over the eyes of that fool, and now the spoils are mine. I snuck past my assorted roommates, and within sheer minutes, I had made it back to my room, my sanctum, as it were. With a couple of head pats to my dear cats, one of which is Bolognese and the other of unknown or oranges, I collapsed upon my bed, readying my heart for the thrills I would soon be experiencing. I inserted the BC shorted version of the Battle Cats Unite cartridge into the Nintendo Switch Entertainment Console. My finger quivered with delight as I turned the console on, and shortly after doing so, I was clapping my hands with pure jubilation as my friends, the Battle Cats, greeted my on the title screen. I gotta fucking zoom in. These spelling errors are really throwing my mind asunder here. I noticed there was already a save file on the cartridge. The person who had previously owned this copy had named themselves Sad Satan. Perhaps my eyebrow had become slightly raised by this, but I merely deleted their file and created one of my own. Strangely, after deleting that dastardly save file, I could have sworn I heard some faint screaming mixed in with the background music, BGM. I was, of course, unperturbed, for I had doges to defeat. My malformed toes curled in the greatest excitement I've experienced in 12 years. The enemies of the cat army didn't stand a chance against me. Did this game really think I'm not good? I recall saying out loud. After hours of endless joy and only minor hiccups, I soon found myself to Thailand, an infamously nefarious stage, as you may know. It was plain as day that to overcome such an obstacle I would need some reinforcements. As I went to upgrade my cats, I filled my mouth with a generous handful of jelly beans, of the Harry Potter Magic Beans variety, which I purchased from Amazon.com. Before I could go to the upgrade screen, I noticed that the game notified me of a cat ticket being in my clutches. This brought some delight to me, as I went to claim my prize. As I watched that little gachapon spin, I could feel my left arm going numb in anticipation. It felt like I was sitting there for days, waiting for my results, but after some time had passed, I finally got to see the cat revealed. It was unlike any cat I'd ever seen before. It was Gamatodo, the lovable little scamp who goes and collects items for you. He isn't even a unit you can normally get, but his eyes were white, and perhaps there was blood dripping from his eyes as well. This caught me off guard. After all, BC is E-rated, or is rated E10 plus, or plus 10. I'm fucking dying. I've got a sore throat. All this reading is not helping at all. Such images of gore should be forbidden. I rather rapidly went to the cat guide to get to the bottom of this debacle. As I looked upon my dearest Gamatodo, my heart sank as I read the fine feline description. Your sins will be paid in blood. This was the description of Gamatodo. Just as quickly as I was capable of reading the short paragraph, a wretched, bit-crushed laugh shook my varied core, and the screen for my right, fully acquired Nintendo Switch entertainment console went blank. I used my finger several times to adjust the turn the blasted thing back on, but to no avail. Before I even has time to process what happened, my phone began to let out an squell as it rang for my attention. My mom was calling me. That female never calls me except for emergencies or to ask me stupid questions like how my day went. I answered the phone expecting to hear about another one of her affairs with her students, but I instead heard sobbing. I asked what was wrong, and she told me I must come over. There was some people there who wanted to speak to me. I navigated to her home with the utmost pace, and upon arriving, I noticed numerous police vehicles parked outside. I leapt into my parents' abode with haste, and was immediately greeted by a policeman and women of the law. The blue blurs informed me that there had been a terrible occurrence that had happened to my father, and that they wanted to show it to me. Ever the inquisitive type, I agreed to their terms, and they responded in kind by pulling up a video, one that will be emblazoned in my head and mind for years to come. I watched the CCTV footage of my father waltzing down a parking garage. So far so good, I thought to myself while looking at my old man. Suddenly I couldn't believe my very own eyes. Gamatodo, from the very same video game I had previously been playing, was murdering my pops. I spit up on myself a little bit, but I don't think the female cop noticed. She asked me if I wanted a napkin, presumably for my tears, but I shrugged her off. There were bugger fish to fry, after all. Gamatodo was obviously merely doing this to send me a warning. But how did he want me to remedy this situation? I ate a few of my father's Dippin' Dots, the ice cream of the future, to calm my nerves. Besides, he wouldn't need them where he's going. This whole situation was very scary. I was so scared and almost creeped out. A supernatural Ben was haunting me for Christ. I'm an atheist's sake. I had a eureka moment. Oftentimes, when one odd my roommates asked me a hypothetical question, I would have an ace up my sleeve to get me out of the jam. Get it out of a jam. I requested to see the Blue Bombers service rappin', and they brandished their Smith & Wesson M&P 22 while handing it into my right hand. Handing it into my right hand? My fucking brain can't understand these sentences. I loaded a silver bullet into the chamber and then proceeded to write my will in case I didn't make it out of this alive. Finally, I blasted myself in the noggin. This has been my ghost writing this the whole time. That's the big Twilight Zone-esque twist, and I will now proceed to haunt anyone who has heard my tale by making your eyeballs bleed and killing your father, Finn.
Yay! Yay!
That was so good. Debacle.
Woof.
Fantastic.
Oh,
I loved it very much.
Thank you. I feel like I really was able to capture the essence of what a creepypasta was there, you know?
Yeah. It really feels like Chris Chan wrote that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's even underlined with the red squiggly.
Yeah, I didn't know what the fuck to do. My brain stopped hard there, like I reached a fucking stop sign.
Were the misspellings intentional?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Jackson, who do you want reading your story?
Let's do Tanichi because he's here and that sounds fun. He's shaking his head no. He's got no choice in the matter though, unfortunately.
Okay.
Why don't you want to? It's so short. What's it matter?
Send it to me. Give it to
Okay, I
me,
did.
baby. I'll read it.
Give it to me, baby.
it to me.
Alright, let's go. My Tumblr blog.
Oh my.
Thursday, October 29th, 2009. Cynophobia. Is that what that is? Cynophobia?
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, you won't freaking believe the weekend I just had. I'm literally shaking as I write this, so please excuse me if I misspell anything. So as you know, I wanted Miu old cat for so long, and I finally decided to adopt one. I've been looking at for a few months now. She was very scared at the shelter, and when I brought her home, but aren't all shelter cats? Fast forward to the night of, and she jumped out the window. I was crying all night because she had a ton of coyotes in our neighborhood, so all I could think was that she got ripped to shreds. Crying emoji. This sounds mad familiar. When I woke up the next day, I planned on searching the whole neighborhood for her, because no way I'm doing that at night. But lo and behold, she was just hanging out outside in my backyard, sliding the door, waiting to be let in. I was so relieved in the moment, but probably shouldn't have been, because she started acting progressively weirder throughout the weekend. First, she started walking around backwards everywhere. Next, she would whisper to me in my sleep, and when I woke up, she'd be staring at from my ceiling. This is not normal cat behavior from what I looked up. So I called the vet, and they confirmed my suspicions. My baby wasn't a cat at all, but actually a dog. I am deadly afraid of dogs, and ever since one bit me up bunch as a kid, so I immediately smashed its head with a hammer while it wasn't suspecting it. I broke down crying again on the spot, and while I was doing that, I got up and broke out of my window again. Now I have to live in constant fear that some dog on the loose in my neighborhood. I really hope the coyotes kill her. Do you guys have any advice on what I should do? I'm so scared.
Solid. Very solid.
Good.
Short and sweet.
Yes, sir.
More crying emojis.
Remind me not to bring my dogs around Jackson ever.
That one was just like a fucking true story, though, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes it even scarier.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I agree.
All right, Dylan. For your story, who's reading that thing?
Wait, Tanichi, do you have a story?
Oh, he does.
Oh, I do.
Then, yeah, I think the logical thing to do is Dylan reads Tanichi's and then I read Dylan's. And then
Sounds
it's a
about
circle.
right.
All right, Dylan. There's a whole lot of extra at the bottom.
A whole lot of extra.
You don't have to read that extra at all.
But it would be cool if you did.
But it would be so gangster if you decided to read that extra.
Oh, don't you worry. I got something special.
Dylan's known to be a bit of a gangster.
Whatever you're doing, don't do that.
Oh, why not?
It's stupid and terrible.
You should. I don't know what you're doing, but you should do it.
I'm gonna do it.
You should do it.
Don't
let him tell you what to do.
In the hall sits a painting. Simple, black frame with the words Ein Kalt funbroinc scratched into the bottom. It was said that some soldier who came back injured or hurt would pass by the photo and get flashbacks because of how vivid the war scenes look. The tight, cramped space, the wetness of the dirt, even the dead tissue spread across the fields looked so real I could almost smell it. The centerpiece of the painting, however, a strong army draped in a dirt flag, so torn you could hardly make out the stars, but the colors were unmistakable. The dirty white was only contracted by the strong red and the darker blue. I've grown to understand that that flag and that face is one of fear and pain. In his hands sat a strange hunk of smooth, unwelding metal. Well, I hadn't seen one on the battlefield. I saw its dark aftermath. Bodies torn apart, limbs lost, and even heads completely blown apart were not uncommon. Many sites were often mistaken for bombing because of the number of bodies torn apart. But it was until further inspection we noticed we was worse? Anyway, the gun in the painting, while I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, this had to be it. Suddenly the room darkened and my heart sank. It felt like the room got colder. All I could remember now was the horror stories. It was said the sound it makes was louder than 50 men and would shake the walls of the trenches. The front of the weapon was short and stocky, but the back was a massive chunk of wood. One person told me it would spit 7 fireballs at once in a pattern of 5, and there was hundreds. They filled the trenches and hacked down all those who stood in the way. It was a skill issue, but it was unfair. It devastated our front line in the coming years and changed warfare forever. Now we must be the bad guys. Dave, oh my god. Do I have to read this part in the German accent too?
No, this is a completely different story.
Dave, I got 2 whips and a nice family nest. I got 2 kids and a wife I have to protect. I'm the average guy. I work in the bank at a desk. If you're cashing your checks, I'm there at your request. But since we're being honest, I feel sad and depressed. I think my marriage is dead and I got gambling debts. I borrowed money from a gangster just to bang on a bet. It was only 50 grand, but then they added the rest. And now I've got to pay 100 back. How the fuck can I come up with that? I gotta think of something fast. I remember this combo I had with my wife's brother when we shaved a bottle of Jack. Shared, whatever. He said with my job I should be robbing the bank, and he concocted a plan. I just nodded and laughed. But wait, maybe we could be the saving grace. Maybe we could empty out the safe. Fuck that, he took my baby sis and now he's playing this. I'm keeping everything I took and heading out to Spain to live. Hey, there you go, Tanichi.
That was bars. That's what we call bars. What a story. What a story.
I'm shivering in my timbers right now. That was a hell of a scary...
that was something. That was quite a creepypasta right there. Holy smokes. Dylan's gonna be keeping all the kids listening to this up all night.
Okay, Dylan, send me your creepypasta, I guess.
Okay.
I can't even remember what the fuck did he do. It was a bad...
Well, it started out with some kind of German super weapon or something.
The creature.
No, it wasn't a German super weapon. It was a German's perspective of the Americans introducing the trench shotgun to warfare.
Ah!
Oh, okay.
That was a pretty scary time, wasn't it?
For the Germans.
Yeah.
Dude, the trench gun was like pretty sweet in World at War, though. I was a big fan of that thing.
It was pretty sweet in real life.
Yeah.
Good news, everyone. Dylan's is 1.5 pages in decent-sized font. Have you ever had fear? Fear so deep that it paralyzes you and your mind as well as your body? Have your thoughts ever been exploited to draw joy? This semi-psychologic entity grows and feeds on the foundation of humans' physical and mental state. This entity is very hard to track, and being aware of its presence is not easily achieved on one's own instincts alone. Its origins are unknown, and its environment is of no specific climate, and it seems to acclimate to any area it is found. The basic psychological breakdown of how this entity works is rather simple. It slowly feeds your mind cortisol, the least impactful and physically noticeable hormone in the human body. As the thought molder introduces fear more and more over the course of a week, it begins to compound the fears it has learned from you. As your body begins producing adrenaline and epinephrine on its own due to the slow introduction of cortisol, the thought molder begins to feed off that as well. As the psychological and physiological tension continues to rise, the thought molder begins to extrapolate the process and raises the brain's thought processes, piggybacking on the electrical currents of the brain and causing the victim to overthink. The results are schizophrenia. The forms of paranoia vary from person to person, but prolonged exposure to the thought molder can cause extreme onset paranoia, OEP. Victims of OEP are left at the least with a trip. Oh, okay, I see. Are left at the least with a trip to the psych ward. However, the unlucky ones are slaves to their own minds, unable to control their own thoughts, their fears, what they see or hear. These victims become hostile, irritable, and violent, often lashing out in their own form of self-defense. The ones that continue along this path eventually become willing transmitters and physical embodiments of thought molders. These victims often end up killing multiple people before being detained or killed themselves. There is no physical difference between a regular human and a OEP zombie. Left completely unchecked, it has the potential to rule the human race. The end.
But what if it were a monkey?
That's scary as fuck.
The monkey!
Wow. Oh, the monkey. How I love him so. Well, there you have it, boys.
Do we choose who the winner is now?
Oh, I didn't think we were going to be
Was it a challenge?
Yeah, I don't think it was meant to be a challenge.
Dylan won.
Oh. Wait, like for my reading or for my writing?
Both.
Okay.
The writing, I'd say. But.
You did such good reading, man.
I don't think that we ranked the previous challenge either.
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
We voted on whose was the best.
Oh, like the short story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did do that one.
Did we?
did
Okay.
rate who's.
Yeah, we did.
I think so.
Sure, we can rank these two. Why not?
We don't have to rank them. All we did last time was we just said vote for one that you think was the best or your favorite.
Okay,
but don't vote for your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that again. Sure, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm voting for Jackson's.
I'm voting for Tanner's.
I'll vote for Dylan's.
Let's go. I'll vote for Tanichi's.
Oh man, I'll vote for Dylan's.
There we go.
I think that means that
It's
Dylan's
just
wins.
that easy.
Congrats, Dylan! Let's go! You won the creepypasta challenge.
His
This is
pasta was
bullshit.
the
No one
creepiest.
voted for mine. I put so much heart and soul into that.
Listen, man,
Wow.
I was trying to bring it full circle. I was trying to make sure everybody got at least one vote.
Dude, you've mentioned the fucking Gamma Toto thing before. You've mentioned it like a hypothetical, I think, to me.
Yeah, I definitely have.
I was trying to find the breaks in your script because I knew what you were going for, Tinichi. So I was like, where does the rhyme start and end? And it took me a second sometimes.
It's fine. It was what it was originally a song that I just cut up.
You didn't.
Super. Yeah.
You didn't catch on to that at any point, Dylan.
What, that it was a song? Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely. It was. Well, when I hear a rap song, it often tells a story, so they're the same in my mind.
Okay.
All right.
Did you? Okay.
What do you mean by they're the same in your mind, Dylan?
Did you think Tanichi wrote that then?
I mean, I don't know. I couldn't say if it was original or not.
Not at all. Shout out
He's a
Shotty
master
Horror.
lyricist, and this was his debut piece.
I haven't heard it before, so
Yeah.
None of us had heard it before except Tanichi, but
yeah.
we all
the second
figured out
I
it was a rap
realized
song
Dylan,
immediately.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
second I realized Dylan was reading, I was like, I have to slip this in. I want nothing more than to hear him read this. I kid
go.
you not, there was another 10 pages I could have added, but I was like,
Thank you for being
Let's save
merciful.
I was trying to be as black as possible. I didn't want to sound white. which I hopefully accomplish.
They're white British people. They're not black people.
Well, that makes it awkward.
Now it's authentic.
Yeah.
Now it's real.
Do you guys know what time it is then?
Oh my god, is it time for Guapish at the movies?
Guapish at the movies. We're going every night in something 5 Nights at Freddy's.
Hold
Hold on, hold on. I made an agreement with Jackson. You guys would talk about that last, so there would be no spoilers. Okay, thank God.
Oh, yeah. This is not the kind of movie where spoilers matter, but not a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't want to know what goes on in the movie.
Dude, would you believe that Freddy Fazbear's in this film?
Oh my god, no way, man. What else?
They gave a man purple face.
But of course, we're going to be saving that talk for the very end. For now, we're going to be kicking things off with our Patreon movie of the week, recommended by Lucas Ledette. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Dylan, would you mind summarizing this film for us here?
Sure thing, buddy. So we start off this movie on, I believe, the 4th of July. The town's celebrating a big old parade. You got these teenagers having a grand old time. They go out to, like, the beach, and they talk about their plans for the rest of their lives, seeing they just graduated from high school. Fast forward, they're driving back, and all of a sudden, they hit something, and they don't know. It appears it was a man. They're like, oh my god, we killed somebody. And so they had a huge argument of whether it was an accident or not. They're like, we gotta dump the body. So then they dump the body, and there's like this one witness guy who will probably be important later. And then, fast forward 1 year, the one chick, I don't remember her name, comes back, and she gets a letter, and it's like, I know what you did last summer. And then she's freaked out, and then things start happening to everybody. And they're like, oh, this is obviously just somebody messing with us. And then they go around, they start finding clues, they think they know who did it, then they don't, people start dying. Then they actually found out who did it. Then the one blonde chick dies, the other guy who has anger issues dies, and then you're left with the 2 people at the end. And then they end up living, they cut the killer guy's hand off that was holding the hook, and he falls into the ocean, and then the cops are like, do you have any reason why this person would try to kill you? And then they lie. They follow through on their promise or whatever. And then the movie ends with the chick in the shower, and it says, I still know, and then it breaks through glass, and then the movie ends. Yeah, it's a jump scare.
Spooky.
Don't say that, dude. You scared me.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to. I won't let it happen again.
Question.
I just elbowed my cat in the face by accident.
Oops. Question.
What's
Does
up?
it matter that at no point in this movie do you not think that the killer is just the guy?
Which guy? Like the one of the 4...
The one they killed. They killed.
I definitely, so that was the thing. I was trying to, for the longest time, trying to figure out if this was a psychological killer or a physical killer, because there were definitely aspects of both. Like, for example, in the scene where she opens up her trunk, she hears scratching in it, and she just finds Max's body covered in, like, crabs and all that stuff. And then she comes back and it's, like, gone without a trace. So I was like, okay, that's not something I would seem super possible for some guy to, do. But then also, the killer isn't just killing them in, like, supernatural ways, so...
I do find it weird that he fucks with them. Why doesn't he just kill them?
That's something
what I was
that
wondering.
Felt a little strange at times. Like, one of the biggest moments for me that really stands out in that manner was, like, when he was chasing the blonde girl, fucking Daphne, through that department store, whatever the fuck. And he just, like, throws on one of those, like, plastic sheets to pretend like he's one of the mannequins or whatever. And he, like, jumps out at her. It's like, why the fuck did you bother with that?
Right. In fact, it actually starts to make less sense, because initially, we think he's just after them because they fucking hit him with their car and then left him for dead. If that was the motivation, then sure, I could see him torturing them. But then we find out, oh, he had actually murdered someone else, and so him having to kill them was him covering up for his own murder, in which case he'd be like, well, yeah, then he wouldn't be messing with him, he'd just be trying to kill him.
Yeah, but that also put me in a weird position of, like, why is he... Like, he didn't kill too many, like, side people, I guess, but, like, why did he kill not those 4 kids? You know what I mean?
That's 100% true. Why did he kill Max?
Yeah, why did he kill Max? Why did he kill the one chick's stepmom? Why did he kill,
why did
the police
like,
officer?
cousin or whatever who owns the... Yeah, why did he kill that cop?
Yeah, like, I'm just like, okay, so obviously he has a vendetta against these kids, but why is he killing these side characters for presumably no like, especially Max. That was completely out of the blue. Max is just, like, working, and, like, he got confronted by Barry, like, being accused of being that guy, but, like, other
it's
than
pretty
that, there's,
straightforward,
like,
Dylan. You see, The Big Bang Theory is, like, the most popular TV show on the television right now, man. And because of that, he just doesn't find all that funny, so he felt like he needed to take his revenge somehow here.
Gotcha. I don't understand what you're trying to say with that, but I'm gonna...
Dylan doesn't get it.
Okay, so I'm gonna confirm this suspicion. Is Max, what's his face from The Big Bang Theory?
He's Leonard.
Okay, I thought so. He for some reason the glasses really change it for me. On top of that, how long did it take you to realize that the one dude was Fred from Scooby-Doo and the one chick was Daphne from Scooby-Doo?
Fred from Scooby-Doo was in this?
Yeah, that was Ray.
We discovered Daphne. I don't think we ever had the realization that he was Fred.
Is it Fred?
It is Fred.
Yeah,
So I recognized almost immediately that Ray was Fred from Scooby-Doo, mostly because of the voice, and then I, like, matched his face. And then Daphne, it took me about almost half the movie. I was like, there's no way that both of them are in this movie, but it turns out they were.
Yeah, it's pretty late into us realizing that was Daphne.
Yeah, it's, you know, crazy stuff, but,
Now, obviously, this film takes a lot of inspiration from, like, fucking Scream, you know? Where there's, like, a slasher movie that's definitely, like, you know, it's a bit more of a mystery as well, though, okay? There are all these, well, we gotta figure out who the killer is. Like, who's going out there doing all this stuff? I know what you did last summer. Who could it be? And they throw out all these red herrings and stuff like that, which I personally think were fairly successful, because, like, yeah, it could, there are a lot of people it could be, Tanner. Like, it could be the one dude. It could be Fred from Scooby-Doo. We don't know. He's barely been in this movie. He talked about how his dad used to be a fisherman. He's now a fisherman. Who knows? It's all crazy, man. Why would he kill everyone? We don't know. But yeah, ultimately, it does just end up being that fucking dude. And we get a really fucking goofy scene of them on the boat as he tries to murder them. And boy, that gal, she can scream for sure, guys. She's a scream queen, absolutely. Like, she's got some fucking pipes on her. But also, that's all she does during that last scene. She's just screaming her head off, sometimes to the detriment of the man who's trying to save her.
I was gonna say, doesn't she get 2 people killed? Or no, the guy doesn't die, but she, like, almost gets 2 people killed because she, like, calls their name or yells at them at the last second, and they look away and then get fucking clobbered.
Yeah.
I hate that trope so much. Like, it happened, and I was like, this is how people die in horror movies. But also, and on that note, kind of a similar note, have you ever noticed, like, in some movies, like, this movie is a really bad victim of it, how the killer is super efficient and good at killing people in some situations, but then when it comes to, like, people with plot armor, he cannot for the life of himself kill them for whatever reason.
A lot of the times he kind of just, like, had the drop on people, and that's how he was able to kill them so easily. And, like, you know, with the blonde chick, she's a woman.
Speaking of the blonde chick in that general scene, I thought it was funny as fuck when they're doing the goofball elevator bullshit when she's going up and he's walking up the stairs and then she's like, oh shit, how'd he get up here? And then she goes back down.
Why was he so confident he could take on Ray or whatever his face was on the boat? Like, isn't he like a fucking 60-year-old man and he's fighting like a college kid? Why is he why does he think he has this, like, in the bag where he doesn't have to worry about this at all?
He's armed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
He's got nothing to lose at this point, man. It's do or die for him.
That's fair enough,
He needs to murder this guy.
I think Barry's death was actually kind of dumb, though. Barry definitely had the time and the strength to fight back. He just didn't, and he died. That part confused me. I thought that death was stupid.
He got the drop on him.
Well, regardless of that, like, he pinned him to the ground. Like, he didn't even, like, wound him, as far as I was concerned, before he threw him on the ground. And then he killed him by stabbing him with the hook multiple times. Which also, that effects there was just dumb and bad, because it was just, like, showing he was raising the hook and then bringing it down, and then it was, like, a sound effect that didn't match a hook puncturing the human. And he's like, oh! And that scene was just bad.
He also sometimes, he'd have the hook, and, you know, it's a hook.
Yeah.
The sharp bit, the sharp bit is this end, and then he'd like jab someone, and somehow that works.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
He's so forceful, he would force it through their body.
Yeah, but it also doesn't get caught on the way back out.
Yeah. This movie's effects are weird, man.
This movie sucks. man. I've
It
been
didn't
holding my breath, but this movie's awful.
Tanichi, did you watch it?
This movie took the good. Yeah, I watched this a while ago, forever ago.
Oh, okay.
I watched this movie forever ago. I've seen all these movies. Yeah, this movie, I wouldn't even say borrowed from Scream. I would say it stole all the good shit from Scream, and then did it really badly.
It's almost like they're directed by the same person.
Yeah. Or like there was one person missing. Like the group of writers were gone. Yeah. That point where like the characters plot that leads into nowhere, where you're like, he was a fisherman, wasn't he? Like I in my head when I watched it forever ago, because I liked Freddy in Scooby-Doo, I was like, got him, you know? Then it wasn't shit.
Yeah.
This movie sucks.
Isn't it fucked up how they have the fucking Daphne be the big old beauty queen or whatever, and everyone's being like, you're so hot, you're just like a absolute bombshell, oh boy, how we love you. But then like the actual main character is way more attractive than her.
I don't think that at all.
I don't think that at all either.
I did not find the brunette chick attractive at all.
You're in the minority,
No.
Dylan.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I am a minority.
Yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt is banging, as my people would say.
Right? She's a real cutie.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's revitalized my love for white women.
Tanichi, I thought you just said you did not find her attractive, though.
I find her. I like her in other shit. I like her in other shit. She gets better. Just depend. Like that whole cast, you know. She gets better. Freddie Prinze Jr. goes downhill.
Yeah.
What else did you like
Prinze
her in?
Jr. is Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah.
Dude, she was in fucking. I don't know.
Fair.
I don't know. She was in porn.
I don't know if that's true. If it is true, I'm looking for it, but I don't think that's true.
Jackson, you've been awfully silent this whole time. What did you think about this movie?
Dude, I mentioned that one elevator scene. I think this movie was goofy and a little silly, even.
Yeah.
I can't remember her character's name, but she was in a TV show, that really bad one, or that it was good at the start. Like the first 3 seasons were good. Criminal Minds.
Oh.
She replaced. I forgot her character's name. I'm just gonna Google it.
Dylan, what are you going to be ranking this movie this week?
Okay, give me a second. Get it.
Yeah, she played Kate.
I am gonna give I Know What You Did Last Summer an A-.
I'm gonna give it an A.
What the... Jesus Christ. Jackson, what are you giving this movie?
I'm giving this one a fucking C-.
That's more along the lines of what I was thinking. Yeah, I'm giving...
I'm not fucking crazy birds. What
Right?
the fuck?
Like, oh my
A's,
God.
huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna be generous and give it a C.
Motherfuckers like movies, what can they say?
I thought it was better than any of the other slashers we've seen.
You thought this one was better than fucking House of Wax?
Oh wait, I
Yes.
didn't even consider my
Yes.
ratings.
What?
Hold on
Yeah,
a
I'd
second.
say
You
so.
thought it was better than House of Wax? I might have messed up here. Hold on a second.
I think House of Wax is many tiers above this one. I think it is the mystery way better, the fucking whole set design's way better. I think the acting is kind of mid in both movies, so I don't
Let
really
me
know
put
if
it this way. I
compare
think
them.
House of Wax is more entertaining.
Oh, I put House of Wax at a B-. That's unfortunate.
So you'll watch a movie even though it's not entertaining
I mean, yeah. There are plenty of
for
movies
the
that...
movie's sake.
I mean, I guess not necessarily like not entertaining,
So
but like
even if the movie succeeds at being a movie, it
Sophie's
gets
Choice.
You know what I mean?
Tanner, we didn't rate Sophie's Choice that good. We all gave
Yeah,
it
we
a
like
C.
all give it C.
Yeah, we all gave it a C. It was an average movie.
Yeah, but I think if you're the kind of person who's into that kind of movie, you'd really like it and think it's really good.
That's a fucking dumb argument when you're the one giving your rating.
You guys
Whatever.
watched the Babadook
Yeah,
we
and
did.
and fucking the witches, and you think that this is somewhere near those two?
The Vivitch kinda sucks.
That movie was actually very good. Unlike this movie, I'm giving it a C.
Kinda decent.
that's fine. We don't
Yeah.
have to agree on movie ratings. It's all subjective anyway.
That's the whole
where
point
are
of
we
this
landing?
segment. Dude, I don't know. Let me see. That puts us at a fucking B.
Oh, whoa.
There's no fucking way this movie's anywhere near better than some of the other things. Wow.
Now you understand the frustration of Guapish at the movies.
You go through and like see my movie tier list. You're gonna be blown away.
I like just the fact that my name is gonna be on this, and like this is gonna get a B.
Wait, are we including Tanichi's rating?
Yeah, unfortunately, Tanichi, your name will not be on the website because you have to watch the movies this week.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm fine with that. Just based off you guys' opinion that this movie gets a B.
Yeah, you don't want to get part of
anywhere near this fucking list. I'm afraid of what you guys are gonna rank World War Z.
Tanichi, what would you rate this movie, just for perspective?
He just said a C.
C? Yeah,
A C?
yeah.
Well, then
and I'm being generous.
You're with Nico and Jackson. Doesn't that satisfy you enough?
Not at all. I want to drop it to a fucking C- knowing that it gets an overall fucking B. This movie sucks.
Yeah, we're 3 out of 5 on the low end of C here, guys. I think we're in the right. You guys were wrong. Anyways,
listen, we could bring in some of our own experts, but anyway, what's the next movie?
That is Nico's pick, The Descent.
Ooh,
The Descent. Now, boys. The Descent is a film about women, okay? Women finding their womanhood.
Gross!
Right? The worst part, they're British as well. I'm sorry, I didn't know that going into this one. So, The Descent is about a lady, okay? She's a blonde woman, and she gets into a car accident with her husband, and he unfortunately dies, okay? It's very sad. It's very traumatic for her. She starts hallucinating a little bit, because, like, you know, it was a horrific event for her, man. It was a horrific event. And so her girls decide, you know what, we're gonna have a little girls trip, help you forget about all that kind of stuff. Oh, we enjoy, like, you know, getting exhilarated and shit like that, so we're gonna go and we're gonna explore a cave, okay? We're gonna explore a cave. And so initially they were gonna be exploring this one cave, but one of her friends, Juno, or is it Jane? I don't remember, it starts with a J. She decides, hey, unbeknownst to them, I'm gonna have us go into an unexplored cave. That'll be crazy. That's where the excitement is. Shh, don't tell them, though. Don't tell them. And in doing so, it really fucks them up, okay? Because this cave is dangerous, and they were just not fucking prepared for this shit. So pretty quickly, their way out collapses, and they now need to just keep traveling deeper and deeper into the cave so that they can figure out how the hell to get out of this place. And it's pretty dang spooky. And as time goes on, they realize that they're not the only ones in this cave, guys. They're not the only ones in here. Yeah, so apparently some old humans ended up being in this cave, and they evolved into some strange cave dweller creatures, and now they're ravenous for these fine young women, and they start fucking devouring them. They just start getting picked off pretty quick, okay? These women really don't fucking stand a chance. However, over time, they start to figure out, hey, we can fucking beat these guys, okay? Me and Jane here, we got this. Easy peasy. And they start fucking taking these guys out. However, in all the commotion, Jane ends up killing one of the other people. And oh boy, that's no good. And so she runs off. Our main girl, she ends up finding that girl, and she's like, Jane killed me. She doesn't actually speak, but she gets the message. And so she goes over, she murders Jane, she finds a way out, and she gets out of the cave. Or does she? The end.
This is just an overall better movie than The Cave.
I'm very happy to hear that, Dylan.
Yeah,
I made that connection very early on in the movie. I was like, surely, because I've heard of this movie, because I think it's like in recommended, like if you've watched The Cave, it recommends The Descent, and I think
this movie came out the exact same year.
Yeah, they came out the same year.
Yeah, so people are always like, yeah, just like The Descent is just a better version of The Cave. And I will agree with that statement. However, I still have my gripes with this movie.
I'll agree with that statement I made.
Yeah, I think this movie was pretty dang good. So, like, even, like, before the fucking monsters show up, we get, like, this really oppressive atmosphere in the cave, okay? Because, hot take, caves are fucking scary as is, okay? And them just, like, fucking navigating this cave is pretty terrifying. Like, when that one girl gets stuck, the way they fucking frame this area, it's, like, so fucking tight, okay? And so you just really get really fucking claustrophobic. And it's really dark. You can barely see anything. She's just stuck, dude. And it's really intense. Like, you know, like, I was having trouble breathing during the whole part. And then when they finally got free, hoo boy, I was finally able to start inhaling a bunch.
There's also, like, a lot of emotional context, like, behind that scene. And, like, the descent within the cave itself is, like, insane, considering the girls were like openly infighting. And as you mentioned, I love this movie. I love this fucking movie. They were infighting the whole time. Like, the descent in the cave was supposed to be for one girl, and then she got stuck, and she was depending on the group, and they couldn't leave her, you know, like the whole emotion of like the act of descending into the cave. You guys have to be like on the same page. You have to be a team. You can't have, cheated with one girl's husband. There are things you're not allowed. And it's so written on the wall that they're gonna fail, that watching them sort of struggle through it and then later even succeed in some parts is like rewarding. Like, you get the sense that, like, holy shit, these girls might be the worst thing for this cave. Like, they're their biggest enemies. And then the weird shit starts happening. the skulls and creatures start coming out of nowhere.
One thing I really like about this movie is that, like, you don't get introduced to like these creatures until like fucking halfway through. However, if you're like observant, you'll see them like every now and then throughout the film as well. Like, I know that I saw them at one point, Tanner saw them at a totally different point, and they were like, we just didn't see like each other's sections either. Like, you know, you start to get the inkling of like, oh, they're not alone in here, are they?
Yeah,
which I think is really cool.
One thing, I can only assume there was the first time earlier on in the cave when she's like scanning the walls and she sees like that black figure sticking out from behind a rock.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
which
the
one
I saw.
So that's the one you saw, and I was like, okay, that's something. But also, this woman is psychologically deranged, so I don't know if that's a thing. And then there's like the other time when like that one Holly chick like just decided like, oh, there's daylight, and falls down a hole and breaks her leg. And then she like hears a noise, which is also weird because it's children laughter, which also just plays into the psychological warfare of this movie. And then ends up finding like the white pasty figure, and I was like, okay, more confirmation, but also nobody else has seen them. Still psychological warfare on the audience right now, so there's no way to know if these are actually things that are gonna kill them.
Honestly, I kind of, and this is going to be shocking considering what I was saying while we were watching the movie, I wish they leaned more into the psychological side and it didn't just turn into like an action movie, basically, with monsters at the end. I thought it started getting silly and honestly kind of bad when we started doing that shit, where they were just literally fighting these things with their pickaxes and shit. I think it would have been better if they did like an Alien, where there's only one of them and it's really evasive, or something like that.
I'm super with Tanner on this one too. I was gonna say I really enjoyed the first third of this movie. A lot of the setup, mostly just like them going through the cage. There's definitely some other parts in it. Maybe even like the first half of the movie I enjoyed a lot. But once the monsters really started getting involved, it really took quite a bit of a nosedive for me. Just because it completely kind of like, I'm not going to say completely, but it threw away a lot of what I liked about the first half of it. Because yeah, like Tanner said, it kind of just turned into a fucking action movie where they're running around, they're like head on with the monsters, which is kind of cool. You don't really see that much in horror movies, so I can respect them trying to be different with it. But I really just don't think it works that well. Especially because these are just like some regular ass fucking women. No offense. And suddenly now they're fucking fighting off hordes of these fucking hellspawn in this cave. Huh?
Well, a lot of it had to do with like trauma. Yeah, it was really only two of them doing the most damage.
Yeah, the rest of them immediately got murdered.
Yeah, one of them was Juno, who was like supposed to be this strong figure, but really was like weak as fuck, like your stereotypical. Like it was like, and maybe I didn't see it like that, but I saw it more as like there was a little bit of psychological shit going on because they were definitely fucking superheroes, and no one was acting like they were watching their friends die, really, because like it sure, it's hard to distract, you know, you kill 1, 2, 3 of them, they still killed 3 of your friends, you know, they're still like in the cave, celebrating, talking and laughing. They're in this fucked up situation. But I thought that sort of leaned into the whole trauma aspect of the movie, where in these situations is when they are better, when they are like, you got to see who could handle it, who was normal. Like, she wasn't normal after watching her husband die.
Yeah, she's not like the other girls.
But
True.
I do want to interject because this has immediately to do with what Tanner and Jackson were talking about. I 100% disagree. I, in fact, have a 180-degree viewpoint of what you guys said. Whereas I thought the first third of the movie was kind of meh due to just bad CGI in general.
What do you mean bad CGI? Where?
Dude, that cave, so fucking fake.
No, there were...
That part where they were climbing on the rocks, you could still see the wires.
The bats. The bats are
The
bad.
bats were bad.
The bats did look bad.
Let me see if I can describe this scene. Have you guys remember? It was like the part where they got to the first big opening, not like when they descended, like after they crawled through the thing, and then the big opening. There was like that part where there's the one lady who's standing, and she's like real, obviously, but like everything behind her just looks like green screen backdrop, and you can tell like 100% like that. I don't know, like, the CGI, in my opinion, in this movie was bad. Like, the green screen, or whatever you want to call it, it was not fitting.
I think I know what he's talking about, but I kind of disagree.
I have no idea what he's talking about, so...
I'll see if I can find snippets, but...
When they're in the first, like, big chamber, they do, like...
And they throw a flare.
They do, like, the way the like, Star Wars prequels would handle big rooms where it's just people in front of a blue screen.
Yeah.
That's not, though. It's an actual set.
Oh, if it was an actual set, then...
It did not look real.
I thought it looked very real. I thought the entire area did look like a whole-ass cave the entire time.
I'll go back, I'll scrub back through the movie and screenshot and show you what I'm talking about, but it did not look real to me. There were a couple...
I'd believe either of you guys, but I don't think it looked bad, so...
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought the set was probably one of the better parts of the movie for me. It all looked... it looked like a fucking real-ass cave.
Yeah.
No, yeah, like, I think there are definitely, like, the parts in this where there's actually, like, cave environment. The environmental tone, or whatever you want to call it, was very well set up. I liked the way that they used... not gonna get nerdy. I just liked the way they set up the environment. I thought it was very good. I thought the movie picked up when they introduced the threat, because that's what I was waiting for the entire movie, because I wanted to confirm my suspicions. I was like, alright, this movie's either a psychological horror, and, like, these people are just gonna die by natural cave happenings where, like, they fall off a cliff or they get crushed.
Happenings.
Yeah, they get crushed in some rocks, something, they hit their head, whatever. Or there's gonna be an actual physical threat in this movie, and then, like, how many people are gonna die is what I was thinking. And also the costume design in this, I think, was, like, phenomenal. I thought the cave creatures looked really good. The sound effects, they weren't super generic. Like, obviously, sound effects from movie to movie are kind of just reused, and they change them up here and there. I thought the sound effects for the creatures in this movie were really good. And then, I guess, to break this off in the last third, I didn't 100% like the ending. That's just me.
I figured you wouldn't. I think that Tanner also wasn't a huge fan of it, either.
Yeah, so this movie kind of did a weird thing where it started off kind of meh, and then it hit a peak, but then it kind of, like, tapered off, and it didn't finish strong for me. So, but I mean, other than that, yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, 100% anticipated that sort of feeling from you, where, like, once it became more of an action movie, that's where you became much more interested in it. I fall somewhere more in between the middle of, like, you two groups there, where I really enjoyed the first part of it, where they're just, like, kind of trying to navigate this cave. I still enjoyed the part where the monster showed up as well. I didn't think it was fucking bad at all, but, like, yeah, at times it was like, okay, let's kind of... they're just trying to survive some monsters. Let's kind of wrap this up now. I get where this is going. But, yeah, overall, I thought it was totally fine. The one big thing I think rang a bit hollow for us while we were watching, at the very least, was there was, in fact, a big reveal, by the way. One of the big reasons, aside from, like, Juno murdering that one girl, another reason why she, like, fucking capped her was because it was also revealed that Juno also slept with her husband, and they were cheating. That's a big thing that happened that I don't think was entirely clear when we were watching it.
Yeah. I definitely felt the implication from the beginning of the movie.
It's the implication.
Yeah. So I
also didn't like the fake out.
I mean, I was fine with
that's what I said. I didn't like that. Like, I was okay with, like, she got out, because I found out there's a sequel to this movie, and I read the synopsis of the movie, and the ending that we got doesn't match the synopsis to the next movie. So then I'm like,
yeah, so
okay,
the ending that we got here, this was like the intended ending, okay? This was like the actual one that they were going with. However, later they were like, okay, let's just fucking chop that part off there. It just ends when she gets spooked. Like, ah! But, like, she actually did make it out of the cave in the sequel. However, also, the sequel is apparently really fucking bad. So I don't care about that ending.
No, that's fine. I just,
I'm just saying I personally prefer the ending where she did get out of the cave and then she drove away and then she fucking, you know, broke down.
I like it more of the idea that, like, yeah, she's still in the cave, okay.
But, like, in addition to that, because here's where I needed the pieces to be put together just a little bit more for it to be a good ending. Because obviously she woke up in the cave, but she was right next to a fire. The fire was her little torch thing that definitely is burning for way too long, because we have our usual case of main character makes a torch and burns for way longer than it should.
That sounds fucking nitpicky. I don't care about that.
Anyway, I just wanted to...
That sounds like some fucking CinemaSins bullshit.
So are we just... Yeah, it was. Are we... When are we assuming it picks up for when she wakes up? Is that like when she falls for the very last time? And then, because I think before all that, she like wakes up and sees like the ascension into light, right? I think that was the part we rewound back to in that version. Is that correct? Am I remembering?
It's just some undetermined amount of time. We don't know.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to figure out where we went back to and how much of the ending was hallucinated by her.
Yeah, I don't think she ever actually got out of the cave.
No, I know, but that's not what I'm saying.
I think the thought process is like, after she watched all her friends die, she freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, maybe. I did want to...
in my head canon, her and all her friends beating up all the fucking cave dwellers is all her being passed out and imagining herself like fucking, you know, being heroic. But no, she's fucking dead as fuck.
So I guess it's left up to interpretation where she passed out. I will say one thing I did want to note, because I did verbally say this out loud. I liked the shot of her climbing up the incline of bones. I thought that was a very neat shot. I enjoyed that very much. That was a piece of cinematography I liked.
It represents her climbing on the corpses of her friends so that she could escape. So Jackson, how about you? You haven't said too much else about this film.
There aren't a lot of opportunities to jump in, you know, it's a wall of talking for 10 minutes
Sorry,
straight.
man. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think I already said my piece mostly with it. I thought it was pretty solid overall at the start. I wasn't a huge fan of when it turned kind of action movie. I definitely would have preferred it more if I went into the psychological stuff more. Obviously, I like the interpretation Tinichi has with it, where a lot of it is, like, entirely psychological. Like, this is just some fucking shit that she's, you know, going on her insane ravings about, basically. Like, nothing's, like, truly happening, maybe. I wish they leaned onto that more. I think the ending is fine overall. I'm not positive or negative about it. I think, if anything, it's probably more positive just because it really leans into her being fucking crazy. And she's just, like, imagining what she wants to have happen, and then she kind of, like, snaps back into reality. That's not what's going on. She's still stuck down there.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm pretty positive on the movie, I would say, generally.
Okay.
But what are you ranking it?
What are you ranking
I gave it a B+.
B+.
That's crazy. I'm also giving it a B+.
That's bonkers. I like this movie a bit more than you guys do. I'm gonna give it an A.
Damn it. You ruined it, Nico.
Say la vie.
Because I also gave this movie a B+. You contrarian, you.
Too bad. Tinichi, if you were to rank this movie, what would you give it?
B+.
Okay.
Woo! Yeah, fuck you, Nico.
And so what's the rating it's gonna be getting here, Jackson?
Probably
A-.
Whoa. I don't believe you.
Wait, what?
Crazy.
A-.
Wait, no. How does that make sense?
It rounds up.
Oh, he said A-. I thought he said B-, like he was just being a little silly.
I was about to say, nobody gave it anything lower than a B+.
Okay.
How is that possible?
Dylan also heard B-. Did you say B- or did you say A-, Jackson?
I'm pretty sure I said A-.
Okay.
Maybe I said B-. So I don't know.
I didn't hear A-. We had a Mandela effect in live person.
I heard it, so you guys are all just
Live
retarded.
Well, there you go. And speaking of retarded, next up we're going to be talking about Tanner's pick.
Person.
Woo!
You guys suck.
That's right, guys. We watched World War Z, starring our very own Brad Pitt.
Ooh.
This movie opens, we got Brad Pitt. He's a family man with a family. And he loves his family because he's a family man. They go into the city, and then, oh my gosh, everything is flipping the fuck out, and there's zombies. Not good. And then they're running away, and then they get on a helicopter, and they go to a boat. They're like, listen, Jerry, that's Brad Pitt's character's name.
Hey, Jerry.
We're gonna throw your family into the ocean unless you go figure out how this zombie nonsense happened. He's like, fuck, I guess I'll do it, because apparently this is something that's under the purview of the United Nations. So he flies to fucking South Korea with a scientist, and he's like, we're gonna figure out how this zombie shenanigans started. And then the scientist shoots himself, and they fly to Israel. So they land in Israel, and he finds a guy, and the guy is like, yeah, the zombies, we knew it was happening. And then the zombies take over Israel because the Palestinians and the Israelis were finally getting along, and so Jerusalem is fucking destroyed because of that. And then he gets on a plane, and he's like, well, we're gonna go to this fucking research facility because I put something together that maybe fucking cancer will save us. And then he blows up the plane, but he survives. And they land in the fucking WHO, and then now the movie is really slow. It was very fast before, now it's very slow. And they're running around this medical facility for a while, and then he gives himself like fucking typhoid fever or some shit. And the zombies no longer look at him, and he drinks a Pepsi, and the movie ends. The end.
Alright, so important question right off the bat here. Tanichi, are you pro-Israel or Palestine?
Dude, shout out America.
Yeah!
I like this guy.
Here we go.
Whoever's left. How about that? Whoever's left. How about, let's go, America.
Only the strong
we'll take
survives.
The winner. We'll take the winner.
I like that one. That's a good answer.
So this movie, guys, World War Z, this movie's pretty quick now, ain't it? They really get off to the races immediately. They don't fucking they don't tease you. They don't like tickle the gooch at all. They're just like, hey, you like zombies?
They kind of do, because that title sequence is really fucking long.
It is very long, and they just go over world news. They do pepper in some of, like, the World War Z events into the just casual news broadcasts. But they're like, oh, other than that, here's the weather, and, you know, stuff like that. Random question that probably doesn't mean anything, but I feel like I should ask it anyway. How do you guys feel about the fact that they're designating this zombie disease as rabies?
I mean, I'm fine with it.
It seems pretty normal to me.
Yeah, it's a pretty typical zombie movie thing. We're like, okay, well, these can't like actually be the living dead, right? we can't make this like some weird magic thing. It has to be like we have to justify it somehow in our real world, you know?
Yeah, it has to make sense.
Exactly. Now, one weird thing for me personally, you know, is like, it's really hard to watch movies with like really big actors like Brad Pitt in it. Cause like, I'm not really seeing like a guy here, I'm just seeing Brad Pitt.
I don't know what that statement's supposed to
like,
be.
Like, this isn't a character. They're like, hey, this is Brad Pitt and he's fighting zombies now.
It sure is.
I mean, I guess, I don't think I can relate.
One thing I did at the very least appreciate with him is that they really made him, as Tanner said, they make him a real family guy, you know? Where we do get like at least a few shots where he's like really trying to like take care of his family. Where he's like, hey little girl, you doing okay? We gotta make you're okay, right? Okay, I'm gonna hug you. I'm gonna take care of you. Don't worry. I'm here for you. I'm Brad Pitt. Where we have
I'm Brad Pitt and I'm your father.
I'm your father. Yeah.
Another weird like little thing, I felt like his wife was being way too casual about everything going on. Like, I would have expected this from him, because he seems like some kind of special ops government guy who's dealt with some serious stuff where he needs to keep a level head. His wife seems to be on that same level, but I don't think she should be. Like, I don't know, like, did you guys feel that way at all about the
she's
beginning?
A military wife, okay? She's just as capable as her husband.
That's the rule.
Some Mr. and Mrs. Smith bullshit. Yeah, I will.
That's a good movie.
Because
it is a good movie.
Brad Pitt is also in that one. Get it, guys?
Is it? Oh, I forgot. Anyway,
What the
it's been a while since I've seen that movie.
You made a Mr. and Mrs. Smith reference for no fucking reason?
Well, I mean, I made it, but I was talking... It's not important. Anyway, I will say, there is a single actor in this show that I am sure that none of you guys know as much as I do, who died who died in the dumbest way in movie history. I don't remember the gun
shot himself?
Yeah.
That was the author of the book.
Author of the book? What are you talking about?
He doesn't know it's based on a book.
World War Z.
Oh.
Fucking retard.
Wow. Yeah, no, I definitely don't remember the gun going off. It definitely makes his death a lot less stupid, but I still think it's super stupid
really
because I remember.
stupid.
Well, hold on. It only makes it less stupid compared to the version you thought happened, which didn't actually happen.
Yeah, because in my version, from what I thought I remembered, he just fell and cracked his head
That's
on
still really
the ramp
stupid.
going in. Yeah, I know, and that's what I was like, man, they made this guy super important. He died within 5 minutes of maybe 10 minutes of being on the screen. And I was like, wow, they really just didn't want this movie to have a convenient plot loop, did they? At all.
Well, you see, a big problem with this movie is it actually kind of went through development hell. There were substantial rewrites shortly before the film came out, where, Brad Pitt, you used to really see super eye-to-eye with the director and shit like that, so...
Gotcha.
They didn't talk.
Yeah. Which I feel like is something that's really felt throughout the pacing of this film, especially with just how we fucking transition from one area to the next, where it's okay, we need our characters to get here now. I don't know how we're gonna do that, so
they blow up the plane.
I mean, it was a zombie infection on the plane. You had I felt like excavating.
And so he blew it up.
Yeah, blowing a hole in the plane would very easily get rid of all the zombies.
It would also kill you.
Not if you were strapped in.
Not if you were Brad Pitt.
Yeah, not if you're Brad Pitt and random Israeli chick.
Who was in the movie for so long. Why? Who is this chick?
It also doesn't fucking make any sense, by the way, when he saves her life, because he's like, okay, I'm cutting off your hand. 12 seconds pass. Okay, you're good now. Despite, the last area he was in, he was talking to them. He was like, so, how long does it usually take for the zombies to, turn? And they're like, it could be anywhere between, 1 to 5 minutes from what we've seen. He was like, okay, got it. 12 seconds. I'm going with what I saw.
No, it was established very early in the movie that it took 12 seconds.
No, because it was established shortly after that, Dylan, that it could vary.
Well, yeah, but that was in the beginning stages. He knew from the beginning of the movie it took 12 seconds.
Yeah, I thought that was showing that those people weren't smart. They weren't
yeah,
good.
Or it was the early stages of the zombie virus or whatever.
No, I think the implication is it depends on where you were bitten.
Yeah.
The guy who turned in 12 seconds was bit on the fucking neck.
Well, I don't know, because there were also people who just got bit in the leg who also turned rather quickly.
Where?
Well, those guys took 16 seconds.
Random bystanders during were they in New York? Where were they in the first city? Where did
Philadelphia.
Yeah, there. In those parts.
I don't know if you can reliably tell how long any of those took, but
Yeah.
Well, it didn't
He
take
counted.
5 to 10 minutes. They changed,
Well, listen, they write it into the movie. Those soldiers specifically said, it takes 5 to 10 minutes. The people who created the movie chose to have them say that.
Okay, but regardless of them saying that, Brad Pitt's character established from the very beginning of the movie, it takes 12 seconds.
Why does it matter how
But
he
he
established
knows it can take longer.
Okay, well, at that point, I don't know what to tell you.
You don't have to be
That's
apologetic
our
for
point.
this
It's
movie
stupid
being
and
dumb.
doesn't make sense. It's a plot hole.
Okay, so one thing that maybe could be a defense for is that he was using her as an experiment. Specifically, he wanted to, test that theory maybe for himself, see how long it take, and also maybe just to see if he could actually stop the infection if he cut off a limb. Because I know from our perspective, he hasn't seen that done yet.
Yeah.
So maybe he was using her as a fucking, lab rat, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes,
And
that
aside
part
from
makes
that-
sense.
Guys, this shit is such a dumb fucking argument. Let's stop
It is
talking about it.
stupid.
Anyways, why does the movie turn so goddamn slow all of a sudden? Why does the pace just go to a goddamn halt the second they get to the WHO?
They ran out of ideas.
I'm assuming it was budget that they ran out of personally.
Oh.
I just think that, they're in a facility where they need to, they have important stuff they need to do, and they need to, they've been tearing through this movie like hell for the first, 3/4 of it.
So it's time to slow it way down.
I didn't mind it at all, to be honest. I thought it was fine.
I was very bored.
That's unfortunate.
I guess this is a question for Nico and Jackson, since Dylan liked that part. Would you guys have preferred, like, the original script, where instead of going to the WHO, he crash lands in Russia and is like trapped in Russia for months on end fighting the zombie hordes?
Yeah, probably. I think it would have been more in theme with the rest of the movie.
It's impossible to say whether or not that actually would have been better in practice, but...
Right, yeah. Well, I think the thing is, you know, you go into World War Z, and that's what you want. You want these big, set-piece, like, military things where it is, like, you know, a war against zombies with soldiers and shit. And we don't see a ton of that in the movie. It's mostly in Jerusalem. You know, we have the military guys in South Korea, but that's not, like, war, you know? That's like stuff we've seen in zombie movies before.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, at least to me, by the end of this movie, it just feels like a setup for like something else. Because obviously the movie doesn't just end. Like the whole world zombie thing doesn't just end by the end of this movie. They're like, oh yeah, we finally found a way to combat them, and now people are more safe, and then now people are finding ways to fight back. So that felt like a setup. Obviously they didn't make another movie, but it felt like a setup for another movie. So I don't know.
So
wait, what's the point you were just trying to make?
That after the movie ended, there was World War Z because they were fighting zombies?
Yeah, but we want to see World War Z in the movie we were watching.
I mean,
the one called World War Z.
Yeah, there was a lot of fighting zombies. There was a lot of fighting zombies.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you.
I thought I think a big plus, the big thing working in this movie's favor is that they do interesting, like, visual stuff with the zombies. Them, you know, climbing on each other, that's something we haven't seen in zombie movies before. That stuff is cool. I like the running zombies and how they're fucking flinging themselves off rooftops and doing all this goofy shit.
Yeah.
That was fun to see.
I know it's something that people made fun of when the movie initially came out, but I think it's fun. I think it's a different take on them we haven't really seen before, so I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, that's something I think I asked people when this movie first came out. Do you think that's how zombies would actually operate, or do you think it'd be like the World War II Call of Duty zombies that everybody thinks would be zombies?
I mean, it's impossible to say.
Yeah, zombies don't exist, so there's no way for us to say.
Okay, well, which would you prefer, though? Like,
I guess
the slow-moving ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want the fast ones. I want it to be fun and exciting.
I'd prefer them to be like real corpses.
I do like this movie's take on zombies. I think that the lack of self-preservation, which also is kind of goes against what they came up with, why the zombies are the way that they are in the end of the movie, but the lack of self-preservation that these zombies have, like, clearly this virus's only goal is to infect, and, you know, all that, which also still doesn't make a ton of sense, which means they're not even trying to consume people, they're just literally trying to infect people for no reason. Yeah. Which I guess is a virus's only, like, function.
Well,
so
that's rabies. That's why they were like, this is like a form of rabies. Yeah. Because that's like one of the features of rabies is that they attack what the fuck
And
ever.
like, by the way, so like, if they're like just trying to find like, you know, a fucking healthy host or whatever, like one that doesn't have like an illness or whatever the fuck, surely people notice like way before this, like, oh, hang on. There are like a lot of people who aren't getting attacked because they have fucking HIV or whatever.
Especially in fucking Jerusalem, you only see a single dude. Or was it maybe two? Did you see the old guy
there? He saw
there?
like an old man and a bald kid.
Yeah, he saw two examples of this. It's fucking Jerusalem. He should have been seeing them like every other fucking person.
And a sick person. Yeah.
To be fair, they were taking in a lot of immigrants, so the large amount of the population.
Does that change anything?
That should, if anything, that should make it more obvious.
I don't know. I feel like the only defense I have for that in this movie is they obviously show there's a lot of chaos that breaks out because everybody's running around, everybody's screaming, there's explosions, there's gunfire, zombies are tackling people at 50 miles an hour or however fast they're going.
Probably not 50 miles per hour.
I'm exaggerating, Tanner. But that is actually something I was going to say. I like how this movie subverted people's expectations on zombies. Like, nobody ever thinks of like, oh, zombies would have the ability to run. We just don't like to think that because they're dead bodies or whatever. I like how the movie was like, no, these things are...
I mean, I guess it is subverting expectations in the sense that, yes, we're typically used to zombies that don't run. The zombies that run have been in plenty of stuff before this movie.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. But like these zombies are like full on, like just jumping, tackling people, like grabbing helicopters. They're much more
mobile, sure.
Yeah, they're much more goal oriented, as one would say.
Okay, so like 1.2 million people in the United States have HIV. Okay, so like surely.
Yeah, 1.2 out of 433 million, or probably more at this point.
It's not 433. Knock that down by 100 million.
I thought it was it doesn't matter. Regardless, that's a very small percentage of the population.
Right.
That's a pretty...
Also, the disease thing doesn't make any fucking sense. Why wouldn't they infect... They're dead. Who gives a fuck?
I mean, they're not dead, technically.
Are they not? I'm pretty sure they're dead. I'm pretty sure they pretty expressly say they're dead.
I don't think they ever, like, expressly said they were dead. They said they were undead or whatever, but, like, at what point,
yes, that's the same fucking difference.
So
they say that you have to shoot him in the head. So
I don't know. It's a weird in-between thing, because, like...
I don't think it is.
For them to die and then... I don't know, man. It's a very traditional zombie way of things where you get bitten and you change immediately. There's like death that happens somewhere in between in the quick transition, but I don't know.
So with that said, Dylan, what are you ranking this movie?
I don't want to go first. Let me go last.
No, you go first.
Go first,
please.
Dylan.
Please let me go last.
You have to go first.
It sounds like
Dylan.
you were really high on this movie, Dylan. You're defending it a whole lot.
I am. I want to go last.
I'm sorry, Dylan, but you've protested now, so you have to go first.
God
them's the breaks.
Damn it. I really liked this movie. I gave it an A.
Insane. Okay. Jackson, how about you, dude?
I gave it a B-.
B-. Crazy. I think I'll give it a C+.
I'll give it a B.
Oh, okay.
We're all generally in the same ballpark. I think even an A for a movie he liked a lot is pretty reasonable.
Why did that dude fucking... He got the prescription, the inhaler bullshit. That dude fucking blasted some guy, and then he just like handed our main boy the medicine. It was like, hey, by the way, this other stuff works on my daughter. Go on, King. Why'd that happen?
He saw his daughter, man. I don't know.
What was that meant to convey to us?
It was meant to convey that this movie got a B. A B. It's a B-tier movie.
There we go.
Chichi, what do you think of this movie? What ranking would you give it?
I thought it was bad. I'd give it a B, though.
Oh, okay, so I guess that's fair.
B for bad.
Yeah,
exactly.
B for bad.
Anyway,
B for...
Bye, Dylan. We gotta talk about the FNAF movie now.
No way! I'm leaving. I'll start this. Bye. Have fun, guys.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Freddy's.
Da, 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 da.
It is in the movie. They play it during the credits.
Guys, I really liked Markiplier's cameo in this movie. I thought it was really funny and well done.
I thought it was really good
I liked
as well.
how he... I liked how, you know, they zoomed into a full body shot and then he just dropped his pants and started jerking off into Chica's mouth. That was really funny.
He was just moaning.
Yeah, that caught me off guard.
And then when he came, it did the sound.
I like the part where Matt Pat had a theory about how he could make Freddy Fazbear come all over his face. That was my favorite theory. If he tugged the bear hard enough, he'd get a reward. He was wrong. He got eaten.
If you fucked the animatronics, would it count as pedophilia?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. And bestiality, maybe.
Yeah, and bestiality. Crazy. And you would automatically be a furry.
Tanichi, do you think that Freddy Fazbear is cut?
Definitely uncut. I've seen too much.
What do you mean? Dude, there's no fucking way. Freddy Fazbear is a Jew through and through, dude. He is circumcised for sure. That motherfucker goes to temple. He eats latkes. Freddy Fazbear is 100% circumcised.
It is not true. He is the most uncut thing I've ever imagined.
That's just because furries like drawing fucking dicks with foreskin, man. What's up with that?
That is why. That is why I think he's uncut. Why? Furries are freaks.
Wait, did you see this one, Tanishi?
I did. It got posted last night on Twitter, so I watched it.
Speaking of which, Jackson, would you like to talk about this movie for us? To give us a little summary of it?
By the way, audience of this podcast, we're talking about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. The one that just came out. We watched it on the opening day, I think. Maybe a day after.
It was the day before, actually. We watched it the day before it officially came out.
Well, there we go. I don't know how we did it, man. We snuck in.
Anyways, Matt Pat.
Exactly. He was there accepting our tickets. We had to wait an awkward amount of time for Nico to pull those tickets up, by the way. The guy at the crippled man counting them was just sitting there staring him down.
Look, dude, like, there was a half hour of ads before the movie actually started. I don't think it was that big of a deal, okay?
And I think we missed 5 minutes of those ads that I wanted to see.
It was only like fucking 2 minutes. I was looking at my...
It was much longer than 2 minutes.
No, it wasn't. I was looking at my fucking clock the entire time.
You and your fucking bum-ass Comcast.com emails can't pull it up in an app.
Look, man.
Sitting there waiting for your browser to finally start working.
Listen, buddy, like, I know that in hindsight, there are plenty of things I could have done. However, like, if my email just got pulled up like it normally does every single time without issue, then everything would have been totally fine. I don't know why that specific moment decided, hey, I'm not going to do anything right now, since I just pulled up the tickets earlier that day. But, like, that's just how it works out sometimes, man.
If that was 2 minutes, that was the longest 2 minutes of my life. Anyways, let's go into the plot of this movie. So basically, we've got our main character, Mike Schmidt, and he spends 5 nights at Freddy's. All right, guys, what do we think of this movie overall?
Hang on, Jack, just give us the actual plot synopsis.
But that's what happens. Anyways, we've got Mike Schmidt. He was previously working as a security guard. He beat the shit out of some guy, and then needed a new job. So he starts another job as a security guard, except for, you know, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. He's got a sister. He needs to take care of her because his fucking parents died and his brother got kidnapped. And he needs the money so that his aunt doesn't take his sister from him. So that's why he gets this job at his rundown pizza place. And then a hilarity ensues, you know. We've got the animatronics, we've got the cop, we've got Michael Afton. We don't have Michael Afton. We've got William Afton. We've got...
Who's Mike? Nico, how hot was the lady cop? Does she make you want to sing Mrs. Officer by Lil Wayne?
She was okay.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, so I'm doing a horrible job explaining the actual plot of this movie. But basically, Mike Schmidt is trying to find out who stole his brother, basically, as a child. And that's basically it. That's the movie.
Hijinks ensue.
Yeah.
If anyone wanted an in-depth explanation of what the FNAF movie was all about, you have it, okay?
To be fair, it is like, it's go watch it, you bum-ass, dog-ass, bum-ass dogs.
Yeah, I don't want to go in all the stupid fucking details. Oh yeah, they had a cute little pillow party. No, I don't fucking care.
Matt Pat was in it. That was my favorite part of the movie, where he walks up to the villains having a little chat, and he slams his game theorist cock right down on the table.
I think this movie was an exercise in pointlessness overall. Nothing really amounts to anything. It's pretty stupid and boring throughout a lot of it for me.
Much like The Descent, I think once it stops being just a strict horror movie, it gets much worse.
This movie...
I don't think it's ever really a strict horror movie is the thing, though.
This movie was never scary. It was always, like, funny. Like, even when... I think the most brutal scenes were, you know, when the fucking people broke in... that shit wasn't scary at all. That was just goofy.
Yeah.
I think it was like the lighting, everything was too bright.
That was absolutely one of my big complaints about this. This movie was way too fucking bright.
Yeah, for like I think they did a really good job with the set overall. Like recreating the pizzeria was really well done, and the animatronics.
Yeah, the
really
animatronics looked great.
But like holy shit, yeah, no, the lighting definitely didn't do it any justice. People are constantly talking about it. You know, probably not needing PG-13, or like it would have improved itself if it had less restrictions. It could have been an R. Obviously, they can't do that because like 99% of the FNAF audience is fucking 10-year-olds.
Dude, I would have fucking loved it if this movie was rated R, though, because you know the kids still would have begged and screamed at their parents to let them go see the movie, and we would have gone there. The place would have been packed with kids, and they would have fucking been screaming and crying at the scary animatronics.
Yeah, like FNAF as a concept is so fucked up. Like, it's literally some dude went and like mass murdered a bunch of kids and stuffed them into fucking animatronics that are now murdering people. It's fucked up, you know. It's brutal shit. I really don't think that they should have went PG-13 because they restricted them so much. It felt like I was watching like a Nickelodeon's movie a lot of the time. Like it felt like it had to restrain themselves a lot. Even with like even with like the fucking scenes where it's supposed to be really brutal, like the chick being bit in half, I just thought it was kind of funny. Mostly, I couldn't take anything seriously, really.
Also, like, the fucking weird thing that they do with, like, the Freddy mask or whatever, where it's got just saw blades all over inside of it, and they're, like, slowly putting on people's faces and shit. That felt really weird and out of nowhere. Like,
yeah.
Why
like, why
do they do
are
that?
they doing that?
What's the point in that?
To that one, I'm gonna go with game theory. Game theory, boys. You guys like game theory?
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't game theory. It was film theory. It was when they were breaking down the trailer for the movie like a month ago. If you guys know much about the lore, there's Remnant, FNAF goo, if you will.
I think Remnant's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either.
I don't think it's real, and it shouldn't be a part of this movie.
Alas, it is. I'm pretty sure that's just supposed to be like an efficient way of getting a remnant out of something, because it's like the traumatic experience mixed with, you know, what's going on is how you get remnant. So I'm pretty sure it's just like an efficient way of getting a lot of remnant out of somebody is the purpose of it.
Okay.
Because like the whole point of the fucking security job, like obviously the point of them just going in to be like night security is fucking stupid, but like that's not the point. The whole point is these, you know, William Afton's hiring people to go work at this pizzeria so he can fucking kill them. That's like the whole point of it, is to like capture them and then harvest remnant from them or whatever. Because we don't know what the fuck he's doing, because he hasn't told us anything. The villain's motivations in this movie are fucking horrible.
They're
like,
basically non-existent. The way
he likes killing kids. What do you mean?
Yeah, the way they portray Afton in this is like the worst interpretation I think that a lot of FNAF fans will come up with, where it's just like, he's an evil guy who likes killing children. It's like, there's no humanity behind it at all. He doesn't have like any actual reasons. He's just crazy.
Yeah, there was a lot more nuance with his character in the actual games and stuff, and they kind of fucking like character suicide him in this movie, which is weird because I don't know if it's like just like an us thing, like we just don't get it. But I'm seeing a lot of FNAF people really excited and like happy about this movie, but they completely fucking just murdered William Afton's character. And obviously, he's an irredeemable, horrible human being. But like, they really just don't do his character justice at all in this movie, especially just because I think they're really going in with the audience having a lot of baseline knowledge of the franchise, which is like, you know what they're doing. They're trying to like hardcore appeal to this audience. That's how they're planning on getting their money, and it worked. It has a fucking massive, you know, box office success. Yeah. But yeah, for like the average casual moviegoer, this is fucking stupid. Like, even like as a FNAF guy, I know this stuff. I know generally what's going on, but the movie does a horrible job explaining it to newcomers. Like, this is a horrible way to get into the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, like, even as someone who's like consumed a bunch of like the FNAF lore and shit like that, I feel like from that perspective, as well as just from like a general audience member, I think that it fails in like both regards, where it's like it's not really succeeding for either of these groups of people. However, I will say, to give the movie credit, on one like kind of spooky part, okay, there was one part of this movie that actually did creep me out a little bit. When Afton is initially revealed and he was in that fucking spring lock suit, he was like all hunched over and shit, I did find that moment to actually be genuinely a little unsettling, you know?
Oh, I thought it was goofy, personally.
It fairly quickly became very goofy when he was like, you know, walking around stabbing and shit like that, and like, you know, getting...
Yeah, when he pulled out a knife, I just could not take anything that was happening to him. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Like, once all that shit started happening, yes, I do think that it was dumb. But like, the initial reveal of him I thought was cool.
I thought our main character gave a good performance.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, I think the sister did a fucking horrible job.
She was horrendous.
But yeah, main character did a pretty solid job. Everybody else was relatively serviceable.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, the fucking one character I thought did a pretty good job was the babysitter. I can't remember her name, but she really just seemed like a person. I don't know how to describe it, but like, she seems like somebody I know in real life, and they didn't seem like an actor. This felt like a person. I don't fucking know, man. I think it's like the whole point of like doing a good performance. She had a pretty minor role generally, but like I don't know how to describe it, man.
I can definitely
also, the main guy was the kid from Zathura.
Whoa!
And also Bridge to Terabithia.
Click here on screen to go and watch our Zathura review as well as our Bridge to Terabithia one. They'll be playing simultaneously. If you click that little button on screen right now, click it. Click the screen rapidly.
Unless you're not on YouTube.
The button I'm referring to is the refresh button. Go up there and start rapidly clicking it. But yeah, overall for me, like fucking... I don't really know how much more I really have to say about this movie. I liked seeing MatPat. When I saw him, I pointed at the screen and I laughed. I clapped my hands really hard. I was so excited when he said, that's just a theory. Also, we've been clowning on it, by the way, about the Markiplier cameo. Allegedly, he was actually supposed to be in this movie. He was supposed to play that security guard at the very beginning of the film who gets immediately killed. But he just didn't have the time for it, so he didn't do it.
Tragic.
Yeah. Well, Tanner, do you have any more thoughts on this film? You didn't really say too much about it.
No, I think I've said pretty much all my thoughts on it, to be honest.
Sounds good to me. Tanichi, how about you?
Dude, I played 2 FNAF games. I watched a Matt Pat video here and there. The movie was you know. From an outside perspective who knew nothing about FNAF lore, I got lost on day 3.
That's perfectly fine, dude. We definitely want to hear that sort of perspective here.
Yeah, day 3 was the day that I was like, alright, all this shit's goofy.
Alright, how about some positives?
I thought the animatronics looked really good. I thought they were gonna look shit, like Chuck E. Cheese, like the really stiff. But I was like, wow, they actually. I don't know if they were CGI or if they were actually physical.
They were physical things. They actually like made
they were
them.
physical. Then the faces themselves was like really cool. I don't know. I was really bouncing. I watched it super late at night, but I was also a little bit off the green. But while I was watching it, I was like, damn, these faces are really cool.
Nice.
Because the games themselves look like crap.
Fair enough. I will actually say I just remembered a couple more things here. Vanessa was she was fine, actually. I don't like that they're tying in shit from that shitty-ass game that I don't like, but, you know, fair enough, I guess. But yeah, she was a fine inclusion. I don't care. This is like entirely separate canon or whatever the fuck. However, the kids were really weird in this movie, and, like, just the way that they kind of interact with Afton. Like, how did they kill him? They drew a picture of him murdering them, because they apparently didn't know that he killed them. What?
It's because he drew a picture of them being friends, which means that they believed he was friends now.
There's some fucking science bullshit that we can't understand. Magic, FNAF magic that's happening where he basically had like control over them, I guess, for some reason. We don't know.
Yeah, they never explain any of that stuff.
And then I guess, yeah, Abby drawing that picture of him being a murderer is what, like, reminded the animatronics that that's what happened. I don't know why the fuck, you know, Abby couldn't just tell him that, or anybody could have just told him that. I don't know why she had to draw a picture.
They also, like, talked about that before. They were like, yeah, the yellow rabbit. You gotta be careful of the yellow rabbit. It's like, okay, so they know he's a dangerous guy?
Well, they were just saying, I think that they were really just saying the yellow rabbit is important to them, or something they think about a lot. I don't think they were directly saying it's dangerous. They were just drawing attention to it, and it's related to them somehow.
Okay. Fair enough, I guess.
Did anyone have anything particular, you know, to say about, you know, William Afton, his actor? Did anyone recognize him from anything?
Yeah, it's Shaggy, but he's old now.
Yeah, we got all the actors from the live-action Scooby-Doo in this film.
Well, they're actually fucking Shaggy?
Yeah! I thought someone was gonna say something about that. Like, all the movies we watched this week had a significant amount of the Scooby-Doo actors in it.
I had no idea. This is the first time fucking
We're just missing Velma now. Was she in World War Z?
Yeah, she was one of the background characters.
She was the Israeli soldier.
Yeah. He wasn't fucking Scooby-Doo. No way, dude. How nobody mentioned that?
Yeah.
That's funny as hell.
I feel like we said a couple of times while we were watching it.
Well, dude, you guys were talking to each other while you were watching it. I was segregated by my lonesome.
True.
Alright, guys, I've got a question to have you guys ponder here. So, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but it looked like one of the children's faces in Mike's dreams was always like blurred out briefly. And it was like a different one every time it looked like. What the fuck's up with that? Why were the faces blurred in the dreams?
I don't know. I didn't notice that personally,
notice
it's tough to say, man.
Okay, generally I think the dreams were alright. I liked how they really like sped through the opening bullshit and then just like stopped doing it altogether to give the audience like a familiarity with it and like know what's happening. I think that's a pretty good way of doing it.
I think that the dreams looked very nice as well. Like, they were shot totally differently from the actual rest of the film, which helped to make it, you know, feel like its own little section. And also, just generally, one other big positive about this movie was they had surprisingly much better cinematography than I would have expected going into this. Like, it still wasn't anything mind-blowing or anything like that, but it was significantly more competent, and, like, they went much further than they really needed to, you know?
Yeah. They definitely put a lot more passion into this movie than I thought they were going to. I think that's mostly just because fucking Scott himself was insanely hands-on with, like, a lot of it. Literally from what Matt Pat himself had said is, like, basically everything went through him, which was cool to see, but also probably sounds like a fucking nightmare for the people that are writing the script and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, it is what it is. I like the passion behind it. I could see why people that are super into FNAF would like it. So a lot of the people that are like really liking this movie were mostly saying it just because like, oh dude, there's like a ton of Easter eggs, dude. They're like really making a movie for us. There's like a ton of stuff to like look at it and like dissect. Like
I liked it when there was that thing on screen that I recognized and I yelled and clapped. I thought that was great.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically every time I see somebody positively reviewing this movie, it's always some shit like that for like 10 minutes.
That's what I've been seeing too.
What the? It's like there's that stuff's cool, sure, but like also the movie's not very great from a basic standpoint, and that's what you should probably be looking at it as.
Jurassic World Dominion. Anyway,
True.
Fucking Dylan.
So
He's not here right now. What a fucking dumbass. Jurassic World Dominion in S-. Are you
Did he
on
give it a
fucking crack?
S-?
He gave it an S-, dude.
There's no
Jurassic
way.
World Dominion. I think that might be by far his most egregious rating.
Oh my god, you're right. Holy shit.
Wait, is it not even S-?
No, it's S-.
Okay. I don't know why I'm relieved. It's still fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, you thought it was S.
Just a little bit. That's pretty rough. Yeah, speaking of ratings though, Tanner, what are you going to be rating this one?
I'm going to give the Five Nights at Freddy's movie a C-.
How about you, Tanichi? What are you rating this one?
Dude, I feel bad because although I don't know shit about FNAF,
you don't have to. That's totally fine.
All the shit that I saw, like I don't know, all the people being like, "This movie is for us." I don't know. It kind of made me feel good. Like, yeah, good job. You got a movie for you. Like this again.
Fuck
this
them
like
though, Tanichi.
shitty...
What are you rating it?
Yeah, I know.
You shouldn't feel bad, Tanichi. We're gonna watch 12 Years a Slave and give it a D for being unrealistic.
But see, that's the thing. If they're realistic with slavery, then it's like it's got to be good, you know.
It has to be good.
I want to see them bleed. I want real actors getting whipped.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Is this slave talking to this white man as if they're friends? It's unrealistic. He didn't call him the N-word once.
Well, what are you rating this movie though, Tanichi?
I'll give it a B-.
Okay. That sounds a little generous, but sure.
I gave it a B- because I gave I Know What You Did Last Summer a B-, and I think that movie sucks, but you know.
Fair enough.
It's a good move. It succeeds at being a movie.
That sounds like a very low bar to set.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not every movie we've seen succeeds at being a movie.
And somehow they get good ratings.
But
I think I'm on scale here.
But Tanichi, your scale is like, if you just succeed at being a movie, you get B-. What's everything below that?
You know, shit like The Prince of Egypt.
That is a movie.
And, you know, The Big Lebowski. Things like that. That's what's below it. Those aren't movies.
Only those.
Those are.
Who let Tanichi cook?
Yeah, those are offenses. I would say.
I'm giving this movie a C- as well. How about you, Jackson?
I also gave it a C-. I'm glad we're all in agreement.
Fantastic.
The cupcake was the goat in this movie, though. It did like way more work than any of the animatronics did.
And that's just because fucking moving those animatronics, I'm sure, is a pain in the ass. Because apparently they had people inside them. Like, they're all costumes except for the Foxy one.
That's what I would have assumed.
So it's just like a pain in the ass to fucking move them around. You can't really have them be very mobile. And the cupcake's easy.
A movie about the animatronics coming to life and killing people that are inside of them. They put people inside. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm sure the actors are like, are these spring locked?
I feel like for like a normal moviegoer who like watched this film, there wasn't like a big distinction for like fucking Golden Freddy or whatever, and so I feel like it could be very easy for someone to be under the interpretation where when they say like there are 5 children, that one of those is like possessing the cupcake as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
I think in I'm gonna go back to it. Film Theory's review of the trailer, they literally mentioned that the 5th kid might be the cupcake, which I thought was pretty funny.
That's pretty fun. Well, with that, boys, that's another week of Guapish at the movies in the bag. This is a pretty long episode, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you fucking like, comment, subscribe, you pieces of shit who haven't done so yet. Fucking tell us what you thought of the FNAF movie, because we're definitely very curious, personally. As for next week, though, Jackson, would you like to roll the Patreon for us?
Oh, I'd love to roll the Patreon, dude. And we're going to get a fucking banger movie this week. That being that we're going to be watching The Big Short by Raheem Mojawani. Thank you for requesting the movie. I remembered his last name, I think.
No, you're racist.
Damn it.
As for the other movies that we're picking this week, though, Dylan bounced a bit early, so unfortunately he's not going to be able to pick a movie. I'm kidding. He's picking The Martian 2015.
Boo.
That's about a guy growing potatoes on Mars.
I watched that in theaters with my mom before, so I'm interested in watching that.
Okay. I've heard it's pretty good. Could it be Dylan's first S-tier movie, though?
I don't know if it's S-tier. I can't really remember anything about it, though, but...
Well, Jackson, what movie are you picking that's going to be S-tier?
S-tier.
Yeah.
Probably not S-tier. Nico, 1 or 2?
1.
We're watching Skinamarink.
Oh, there we go. Another horror movie.
What?
Skinamarink, 2022.
Yeah, it was
It's a pretty
big film last year.
I've never heard of this.
It's relatively controversial, too, in the way it's structured. A lot of people don't like how it's filmed. It's basically, it's like a YouTube channel that made a bunch of, like, I don't know if it's analog horror.
Yeah.
They had, like, their own, like, spin on, like, horror stuff, and they made a bunch of videos about it. And then they got a license to make a fucking movie. So they made a movie basically that's in the same style that all their YouTube videos are.
Interesting.
It looks pretty interesting. I only realized... Nico mentioned the name of the movie to me before, I think. Probably when we're talking about myhouse.wad, because that was a pretty... it doesn't have a similar concept to myhouse.wad, let me get that straight. It just has one concept that's similar, that being that the doors disappear in myhouse.wad, so you can't leave it, and that happens in Skinamarink as well, I'm pretty sure.
How do you spell that?
Skin.
Oh, here it is.
There you go.
Marink.
I actually had this movie on my list as well, so I'm happy I get to remove it here now.
Holy cow, it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
I don't have Hulu yet.
It's also going to be on my Plex, don't worry.
Yeah.
If you're worried about the other one, it was going to be the new Flash movie, so I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't pick
Why the fuck was the new Flash on your list?
Because it looks really bad, and I want to watch a really bad new movie.
Gotcha, okay.
Like, it looks comically bad.
That's fun. All right, well, there you go, guys. We're watching Skinamarink, The Big Short, and The Martian. All of them starring Matt Damon.
Whoa. I'm pretty pumped.
All 3 of them.
I'm pretty sure The Big Short does have Matt Damon in it, actually.
Oh, does it?
I'm pretty sure.
Skinamarink features a child Matt Damon. As for the ending for this podcast, though, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Again, I'm telling you again because I really want you to do it. Please, for the love of God, like, comment, subscribe, okay? And the more important thing here is I want to make sure that each and every one of you know about our fabulous Patreon. That's right. If you want to get your movies recommended just like Raheem Rajawani did today, then you can hop on over to patreon.com/Guapish, where you will get a bunch of exciting perks, okay? Exciting perks like, if I can just fucking find them here. I believe they're... Let me check them out here real quick, boys. You get early access to the pre-guap. You also get early access to the videos in general. You get our Discord access where you get to request movies and topics, as well as 500 slime coins. That's right, 500 of them. So, if you want all of that and more, hop on over to our patreon.com/Guapish, as well as the big one, boys. The big one. You get your name read out in every single episode, just like Jackson is going to do right now.
No, you say them. I don't want to say them.
Okay, that's fine, because I love our patrons, so I'll definitely say their names. Raheem Rojawani, Kyler Nikolai. I think Shimi is an overall better cat than Mochi. This is not a Patreon name. Stop Rumen Man. Joshua Bean, Macho Man Retard Savage, Tupbot, Lucas Liddett, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards. I especially love you. I think Shimi is an overall better cat than Mochi. This is not a Patreon name. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye!
Bye!
Bye-bye.
Adios.